And welcome on back, everyone, to the channel. Hope you're having a beautiful one out there. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get our saddles ready and hop onto this horse. What do we call it? We don't have a name for it. That was a bad job. I could have done a little bit better. I could have put a little bit more thought into that. Anyways, we're listening to the band America. We're going to listen to the track A Horse with No Name. This is off of their debut studio album of the same name, America, released in 1972. We are primarily listening to this because it is the favorite song of D. Kernaghan. So D, thank you so much for the recommendation and for sharing your favorite song with us and myself here on the channel. But it had also been suggested and recommended by, 14 Gilbert, Thomas Ripley, Ken L., Jaybird. I see you there as well. You said that this was one of your top tracks, I believe. Ryan Craig, Mick Capewell, Renee Mokum. So thank you guys. I had to find, sometimes I gotta peek right at the bottom. I found you though. So thank you guys so much for the recommendation. We've listened to a couple tracks from the band, but let us return to America with A Horse with No Name. Here we go.
On the first part of the journey,
Sounds like Neil Young.
looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, because there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La, 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 After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed. And the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain.
That's sensational. Those harmonies in the end of the chorus are blissful. That's
After 9 days, I let the horse run free, 'cause the desert had turned to sea. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The ocean is a desert with its life underground and a perfect disguise above. Under the cities lies a heart made of ground, but the humans will give no love. You see, I've been through the desert on
every time it comes around.
it felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La, 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 la,
All right, as described in the lyrics, this song, of course, has this very Western, dusty trails kind of aspect to it. Even the name of the band, the name of the song, the artwork of the album cover, it all gives me that idea of westward and the West. And whereas typically, as he describes a desert in many of the parts here of the song, typically I think of that like a dusty, dry heat, kind of deserty kind of sound when I'm thinking of all this. But can I say, while the band does play towards that aspect with some of the folkier elements here, I think that the song actually sounds, this is going to sound so weird, but not dry. I'm not going to say that it sounds wet, but the song has a nice coolness to it. Maybe that's what I should say. In which, yes, there is that dry heat aspect to the music that I'm feeling from it, but at the same time, there's a coolness, a little bit of a cool breeze that passes by that doesn't make this scenery and the scenario sound torturous, dry, like you're suffering under the heat. It's a refreshing heat, which I also get a lot from the lyrics, which I'll dive into in just a moment here. But singing. I really enjoyed his singing, and I love those harmonies, especially on the ends of the chorus. La, 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 la. And how each of the choruses subsequently grows bigger and more harmonious. The music becomes a little bit brighter. It's like a beautifully dark cloud while you're in the middle of the desert, providing that refreshment, which sounds really wonderful. The lead singing here, which let's see who's doing the lead singing. If I can find that really quick here. I'm assuming that it's going to be Dewey Bunnell, sorry. I'm going to assume that it's him lead singing. And doesn't he sound like Neil Young to you? Or is that just me? Is that just a me thing? No. He sounded like Neil Young when he first started. He just has that same tone to him. One small thing I really enjoyed was that little guitar solo that happened a little around 2 minutes or so. I just want to point out something really quick. It's a small moment, but I really enjoyed it. All right, after the chorus here. Okay, I just stopped it in the midst of what I was talking about. I love this little transition into the solo from the second chorus forward. It's just the percussion and the bass. Just that small little snippet of what they do is just a wonderful transition. The guitar entrance. And now the melody and the bass, the melody and the rhythm changes a little bit on the bass, the drums as well. It's just this little splash of cold water in your face to change the music for just a moment. I kind of wish that had like an extended solo, just to be honest, like because I really liked what was happening there. But it's just this little moment to kind of splash some cold water in your face, and then it brings you back into the reality of the song as we move back into the next verse after that. That was just a really, really nice moment. I really like that transition with the percussion, which was happening throughout. Like, when I hear that click, 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 like that clop, it makes me think of two things. It makes me think of the coconuts used in Monty Python with the horse sounds. And yes, it does make me think of horses traveling along the desert, which works with the name of this song. Let's go ahead and look at the lyrics on this one, huh? On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. So all of this makes me think of, once again, a journey. In the first part, it's teeming with life. There's flowers, there's plants, there's birds. There's just life everywhere. But as he moves further and further out into the desert, or what I presume to be the desert, well, it becomes, of course, a little bit more sparse. The sky, no clouds, the heat is hot, the ground is dry. However, even in this seemingly, bad scenario, the air was full of sound. So finding the best, even in bad situations. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember your name, because there ain't no one for to give you no pain. Okay, so here's how I interpret that line. I usually think of being out in the desert in a negative way. I really do think like you're deserted. You're deserted in the desert. There's no one around. There's no shade. There's no nothing. It's a life-threatening situation. However, he kind of spins that. He says, I've been out in the desert on a horse with no name. And you know what? It felt good to be out of the rain. It felt good to be out of whatever situation he was previously in. To me, rain represents sadness, tears, because in the desert, you can remember your name. Out there, you are alone with your thoughts. You're alone in the heat. And yeah, it may not be the most ideal situation in some respects, but on the other hand, you can self-meditate and in a way self-medicate and relax and find your senses, find yourself. So he's taking presumably a bad situation and making the best of it. After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed, and the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. So he's still reflecting. I love this reflecting he's thinking of. He sees this riverbed and he thinks, man, this once had life, but now it's dead. Is he finding himself in a similar situation? And he's comparing himself on this journey and perhaps symbolically to the river. I didn't have to sip in front of you guys. After 9 days, and yet I chose to. After 9 days, I let the horse run free because the desert had turned to sea. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand hills and rings. The ocean is a desert with its life underground and a perfect disguise above. Under the city lies a heart made of ground, but the humans will give no love. So there's a lot to unpack on this verse from our saddlebags. I'm going to see how many more horse puns I can make. So before... it was 2 days, 3 days. So now this is 9 days. So 5 days later, 6 days later, almost a week. So he lets the horse run free at this point. He says, okay, the horse, there's no reason for me to keep you here. Survive for yourself. He says the desert had turned to the sea. So now he now made it across the desert and he's found himself in an oasis. Or this could also be a mirage. This may not be real, but it could be real. Could have made it and said, the horse and I, we made it. You're free to go. The ocean is a desert with its life underground. I like that. The ocean is a desert and the life is underground. The perfect disguise above. That's a great line to, really dissect the layers of ocean, the sand underneath and such. Under the cities lies a heart made of ground, but the humans will give no love. So the heart is underneath, and he says the humans will give no love. Like the love is there, the heart is there, but you got to work for it. It's not just going to make itself apparent. You got to dig for it a little bit. You got to find it. Then he goes on there at the outro. That's a really great song and really great lyrics. Let's take a quick look into all of the... just a quick look into this. It says, it was met with commercial success, topped the charts in Canada, Finland, and the US, reaching number 3 on the UK singles chart, certified gold in 1972 as well. Originally called Desert Song Horse, was written while the band was staying at the home of musician Arthur Brown in England. Let's see. First 2 demos were recorded there by Jeff Dexter and Dennis Elliott, which were intended to capture the sensation of a hot, dry desert that had been depicted in a Salvador Dali painting. Dewey Bunnell also says he remembered his childhood travels through the Arizona and Mexico deserts when his family lived at Vandenberg Air Force Base. He explains that this song was a metaphor for a vehicle to get away from life's confusion into a quiet, peaceful place. And that's, like I said, definitely what you get. That idea of meditation within an isolated scenario and situation. And of course, there's a lot of other information about the song and critics and everything, but we're not here for that. We don't. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the music. Hope that you enjoyed myself as well. You can support the channel and what I do on Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You can press the like button. You can subscribe as well. Thank you so much for being here. Come back tomorrow, and I will see you all then, guys. Have a great one. Bye. Hold on. So actually, okay, sometimes when I press the credit button, I kind of read a little bit more. I thought that this was kind of interesting. I just noticed. Here, because I did not expect this. Despite the song being banned by some US radio stations, I actually didn't know that. Because of supposed drug references to heroin, which I guess horse is a common slang for heroin, the song is sent to number 3. I just didn't know that. The song's resemblance of some of Neil Young's, there you go, work aroused some controversy. It does sound like CSN. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. See here. The song received criticism for its lyrics, including the heat was hot, there were plants, birds, blah, blah, blah. And because there ain't no one to give you no pain. Randy Newman dismissed A Horse with No Name as a song about a kid who thinks he's taken acid. Penn Jillette asked the band about the lyrics. They were blah, blah, blah. According to Gillette, their explanation for the lyrics was that they were intoxicated with cannabis while they were writing. All right. I just wanted to bring you guys back for that. I just happened to see that. All right. Bye, guys. That was a mid-credits scene. In the most literal way.